from Pennies to Dollars, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about 15 frugal grocery shopping tips that I use to save money. And as we go along, maybe a few of these I have mentioned before, but I thought I would put a video together with all of them in one place because I really feel like they are worth mentioning again if you have not heard some of them. And then I have new tips in there as well. So if you're just joining me, thank you for stopping by the channel. I hope you will gain value from this, and I hope that you will decide to stay and join our community. So let's get started today. The first thing that I suggest is if you buy any canned goods, that you shake that can in the grocery store before you put it in your cart. I have learned this from my mother, who came home with a can of corn and it didn't have one kernel in it. I have mentioned it to other people who have experienced the same thing, buying apricots with 3 apricots in there, buying beans and there were hardly any beans in the can. You can tell if it's more liquid than vegetable. They are packaged according to weight, but that doesn't mean that it is packaged according to the weight of the product. And sometimes mistakes happen. So be sure and shake that can before you put it in your cart. The second tip is to check your ounces and use a calculator. Many times we will think that something is a better deal because of the way that it's packaged, and it can fool us. The other day I bought some sliced almonds to go on our salad. The bigger package was really not what I wanted, and it was buy 2 get 1 free. And I really didn't want 3 big packages of almonds, but when I did the math, the bigger packages were so much cheaper, and the date was clear into 2024. And so I looked at that and I said, it just doesn't pay to buy the small package. So I bought the 2 large packages and got 1 free, and now I'm set for sliced almonds on our salad clear through 2024. The third tip is to check the produce in your bags. If you get like 3 romaine heads, that's just packaged by the 3, and they're all different sizes, and the lettuce, the way it grows, sometimes it's really compact and sometimes it's really leafy. So you can tell when you pick that up by squeezing it and lifting it, or you can even put it on a scale to see which package has the most product in it for the same price. And the fourth tip is to count your produce if you buy it in bags. Many times your apples, your oranges, lemons, limes, all of that will be saying maybe 3 pounds. But if you weigh them, they may be 3.12 pounds. And if you count them, you may have 6 in a bag, 7 in a bag, 8 in a bag. So I always pick the ones that have the most in the bag, because that is more servings of what I am going to need. It's fine with me if the servings are a little bit smaller, as long as I have more of them. The fifth tip is to go back to making some things at home. We have gone back to making our bread at home for my husband because he's gluten-free. We're saving about $3 a loaf, I think, in making that rather than purchasing that. We've also started making hush puppies at home, and I made a video of that if you're interested in my frugal video playlist. But we've gone to making some of these things at home to cut the costs, and it's really made a difference, and we've added so many new recipes to our list of things that we enjoy. The sixth way is to stay on budget by only buying the sale items that you know you will eat and that are within your price point. Know what you are going to pay for something, and then look for those items to be in your price point that you're willing to pay. And then add those to the stock that you already have, and you can figure out what to make from that. Nancy, who watches our video, tried that in her very first week. She saved $60 by using that method. The seventh tip is to reuse any items that you can. I reuse my grease when I'm cooking. The FDA says that you can do that. So I reuse my grease. My mother always did, my grandmother did, and grease has gotten so expensive. So I reuse the grease when I'm cooking something on the stove, frying something on the stove, and it keeps me from having to use fresh vegetable oil or fresh olive oil. I also reuse my leftovers. I will reincorporate them into another dish and mix them in, and you won't even know that they're there, but it will help bulk that up and keep me from throwing things out. And then of course I reuse bread bags, tortilla bags, anything with a zippered top, popcorn bags, any of those things, I reuse them rather than purchasing a Ziploc bag or something of that nature. My eighth tip is to make your own cellar if you have a way to do that. We use a back bedroom during the winter, and we keep our oranges, our apples, our potatoes, our onions. We keep that produce back there, and because it's colder, it has slowed down the process of anything going bad. I haven't had a potato go bad since I cannot remember when. Definitely not at all this winter. The ninth tip is to organize your freezer and your pantry so that you know what you have. We used to own a grocery store, and we would watch people come into the store all of the time and say, I don't know if I have this or not, so I'm just going to grab another one. By knowing what you have, you will save yourself money, because many of those things that you can pick up are things that maybe last you a really long time, like spices, and you don't need another one when the first one will last you for several years. So know what you have before you grab another one. The 10th tip is to use recipes that have fewer ingredients in them. This will save you money, and also to use recipes of things that you already have on hand. We get used to making the same things over and over, things that we're comfortable making, things that our family likes. But many times, if we will just add a few more recipes to the list of things that we make on the rotation, we will find that we can save money by buying things that maybe only have 3 or 4 ingredients instead of multiple ingredients. The 11th tip is to make what you can afford, not necessarily what you are hungry for. And this goes along with how you are shopping. Shop for the things that are on sale that you know your family likes. And then you will have a good stock on hand so you can decide what you're going to make that week without having to go out and pay full price for something that you are hungry for. So just buy what you can afford and then make meals from that. The 12th tip is to cut back on your snacks. When I grew up, we had 3 meals a day. And when my husband and I travel, we normally eat 2 meals a day. And we plan to do this during our retirement as well, a mid-morning meal and a early evening meal to cut back on costs. If you eat good, filling meals, you do not want to snack as much. Snacking was not normal when I grew up. In fact, I remember hearing other kids talking about after-school snacks, and I didn't know what that was because we never had an after-school snack. And then I heard them talking about peanut butter and jelly. I had never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. If I was really hungry after school and I went home, I would grab maybe a piece of cheese, and that would tide me over until supper. We just didn't have after school snacks. We didn't have in between meal snacks because our meals were filling and they carried us until the next meal. My 13th tip is to cut back on prepackaged snacks if you buy them. I remember in kindergarten, we would carry a coffee can down to the lunchroom, and it was a big deal whoever got to carry that coffee can. And we would have graham crackers that were broke up into the squares in the coffee can, and then we would each get a graham cracker and a half of a pint of milk to go with our afternoon snack at school. These were things that tied us over until we got home for the evening meal. And that graham cracker and that half a pint of milk, because of the way that they were served, were not very expensive, but they were enough to get us through. Now, I know you can't serve snacks at school anymore that are not packaged, and I understand that. But for you at home, maybe you can adapt to some things like that you can grab a square of to get you by until the next meal without buying something that has been pre-packaged in individual servings. My 14th tip is to use more celery, more carrots, things that do not cost a lot to help bulk up your meal or add color or add flavor. I even take my carrots and use my grater and shred them so that they go farther and yet you can still see them and taste them in a dish. Carrots are not very expensive, so you can slice them and use more of them if you like. But this is something that I have started doing to add to like my chicken and rice, my pasta salads, things like that, to make the color and the flavor there without using a lot of the product. My 15th tip is to get creative in your kitchen. We get bound by the ideas that we have in our head of what we usually eat or what our family usually likes. I was on a vacation for 9 days. My husband wasn't able to come because he had to work. And when I came home, I drove in the yard on empty. I didn't want to stop one more time. I was ready to be here, and I didn't go to the grocery store. So we had 9 days of him home without anybody going to the grocery store. And then I had an additional 6 days of my work week before I decided to go grocery shopping. So we went 15 days without bringing any food into the house. And we still had so much food. So you can get creative by what you still have in the cabinet. I had a suddenly salad that I had last year when they were on sale for $1. I took that, I added some tuna, some sliced sweet pickles, I shredded that carrot, I added some celery, I added a tomato and the seasoning, a little bit of mayo, a little bit of milk, and I had a pasta salad that lasted about 3 meals while I was working at home. So you can get creative by the things that you have in your house. You can bulk them up, and you can add things that don't cost a lot to bulk them up. So I hope this was encouraging to you to get creative in your kitchen and think about ways that you can save money when you are purchasing groceries and storing your groceries. I thank you so much for watching today, and if you found value, please give me a thumbs up, and I hope you'll stick around and subscribe. Have a great day.